What's up, fans? I wanted to share an issue that I was having with my receiver with you all, just in case you may run into the same problem, or if you want to prevent this issue and you will know how to fix it. So recently I added a Roku Ultra to my system. Really enjoyed the ATMOS and Dolby Vision, the sound, which is why I ended up going with the Ultra. But anyway, the next morning after installing the Ultra, I went to turn on my system and noticed that I wasn't getting any sound. The front display on my receiver was showing decoder off. So I'm cussing and fussing, changing the sound settings on the Roku, thinking the Roku was broke. No matter what I did with the Roku, I couldn't get the sound back. So troubleshooting mode kicked in for me. And I said, okay, let me test a different component. Went over to my Blu-ray, same deal. I wasn't getting any sound, decoder off. So now I'm really tripping. I'm thinking my receiver is broke. Continued to troubleshoot. I ended up getting sound through the TV. So the ARC channel was actually still working. I went over to the TV and noticed that I can use the apps and get sound into the receiver from the TV. So I was a little relieved knowing that, okay, my baby girl, she's still working a little bit, so let me figure this thing out. The only thing that I can do to get the rest of the HDMI channels to start working properly as normal was I had to completely reset my receiver. So I had to initialize all settings, set my receiver back to factory defaults, and then I restored my backup that I always keep. I make it a habit to keep a backup, and that's just a tip that, you know, if you ever run into this issue, I actually made a video on how to make a backup of all your system settings. Make that a habit. Every time you run calibration, back up your system settings. So in the event that something may happen, and something will happen, it's just a matter of when something happens, you can then restore all your settings. Otherwise, I would have had to completely rerun calibration and get everything set back up, but being able to completely restore my backup made things much easier for me. Okay, so the fix is very simple. It may be called something different on different receivers, but CEC is the culprit of these issues. Because what happens is the Roku goes into sleep mode, and that's why I noticed it happening the next day. The Roku goes into sleep mode and it breaks communication with your receiver. When that communication breaks, that's when the little gremlins come out and they start wreaking havoc on your system. So to circumvent that, simply turn CEC off. If you have a Denon or Marantz receiver, it may be called CEC in your receiver. On a Yamaha receiver, it's called HDMI control. Right here, if you go into HDMI settings, right here, HDMI control, turn this off. Turn it off. Now, before when I was using my smart TV, in order to use the apps on my TV, I had to have this on in order to get sound from my TV to the receiver. So I had to use this before, but now in the fact that I'm using the Roku, I have no need to use the smart TV apps. Everything's on the Roku. So simply turn this off and you'll be good to go from there. All right, hope that helps anybody. I know it helped me. I'm relieved that my receiver isn't broke, and the fix was something simple. So hope it helps. All right.